It all starts with the right eye line and how you see a straight putt. I'm William Noble. I'm the PGA professional at St. Anne's Golf Club, and I'm back to basics with putting. But that eye line really affects the way you aim, your posture, your distance from the ball, your ball position, and your pat, and the type of putter you would use. So that's really getting fitted for a putter correctly. But today I'm going to talk about the basic fundamentals of how to aim, how to grip, and the variation of grips as well, with a stance, ball position, and posture, and certain things that you would do there that will affect those elements as well. My putter is perfectly made for me. It's the perfect balance for me as well, in regard to being face balanced, toe balanced, and 50-50, and that's something I'll talk about again in the next session. But we're going to start with aim first. So aim is all about the club face. We want this to be dead straight. So I've got little elements down here that I use quite a lot for aim. So first thing I do to make sure that it's aiming correctly is I put the putter behind my little triangle here that has a white line on it. We're going to show you that from a different angle in a minute. I'm using my alignment sticks. You can use a line on a mat like I have here, or a cardboard box where you would sit the club face up against it. Just push it right up against it like I have done here. And then from there I pick it up and I'll show you what it looks like. So that's completely straight here. If it was open, it would be that way, which would have an effect on the direction the ball starts, or closed, it would be that way. Okay, so there's very limited movement on how you put. So the aim is seriously important, especially if you want to pick a starting line. So that's my square club face that I'm starting with. From there, what I'm going to work on is my grip. So I'm going to show you two types of grip. Your traditional grip, which is left hand on top, but where you grip it is up through the middle of the hand, just below the lifeline there. See it there? So we put that right up against it like so. I bring it around, thumb down, and my fingers underneath, so you can see I've got a flat edge there. From there I slide my right hand down, thumb down the middle, and again it's through the middle of that hand like so. So they're both flat, so they're working together, and I overlap with my little finger, and this gets both my hands working together. The other way I would do is what we call a cat-hand grip, which I think is quite successful in putting, which is the reverse. I put my right hand on top through the middle of my hand again like so, and my left hand on bottom like so. I slide that down and I put my forefinger on the outside this time like so. Alright, so that's that grip there. Alright, so you can see the difference. And what the difference between the two of them is, with the cat-handed grip, it actually keeps your shoulders a lot more level because the hands are more level. You can see it there. And actually I feel it keeps you squarer through impact for shorter putts and starts it more in line, where when you go for the more traditional right hand on top, left hand on top, right hand on bottom, like I'm about to do here, and there's my forefinger on the outside. I think I did that the last time, but we'll put that there. It drops your right shoulder a bit, which brings your right hand more into play through impact, I feel. And I don't feel the hands work as well, and you're a little bit more level, so it throws off your shoulder alignment, but that's just me. Okay, so that's two different types of grip. They really help to keep the club face square. A little drill that you can do is get your two hands together, like so, and then split them apart, which gives you how you would grip onto it. So you bring your putter in, left hand on top, right hand on bottom, so they're completely flat. Or reverse them, bring your right hand in like so, that's feeling, and then flat down. That's it. So once they're flat, really helps to promote that motion there, like so. The two of them working together, so we're keeping the left wrist what looks firm through impact. That works really well on the grip. I'll work on our posture, but before we do that, we've got to determine the width of the stance we want, because that has an effect on my height. Also will also have a semi effect on the ball position. So with this, I'm going to start off with shoulder width. For me, that's where I'm comfortable because of the angle I come into the ball. It keeps it nice and shallow. Now you can go really wide, and that keeps the putter lower to the ground, but it's preference, and that keeps my lower body very stable, but also lowers me down, so it has an effect on my eye line, which has an effect on my ball position, which is just left of center. like so. So then I can work very hard on my posture. For putting is actually not bending from here like a traditional shot. It's actually having shoulders that are slightly rounded. Now, two good ways of doing this, and I'll show you one of them first, is I slide my hands down my legs like so, and you can see I've rounded up my shoulder, so it's quite flat up here. I'm slightly curved here, but not much. That means now my eyes are somewhat over the ball, but I'll show you exactly where they will be. And what that does for me, by having slightly rounded shoulders, I'm doing that for the right height I know that is for my putter. That actually eliminates any movement with my legs and this part of my body. It creates that pendulum effect that you often hear about. So the only thing that's physically moving my shoulders, but it's the perfect posture for putting. Where in the long game, it's more straight back, arms hang more out to create movement that way. We don't want movement in our legs. So get a weighted ball like I have. And this is something I learned through Seymour putters. So then round my shoulders and just let your arms hang. And it gives me the perfect height for where my arms hang. And that's again at the same height as that. It's the same thing as me doing that. And I'm all rounded here, which gives me that perfect movement without having to think about it. So we've talked about grip, club face, with a stance, which affects posture. And then I got to find ball position. And for me, that's left of center, because that's where the club meets square to the ball every time when I hit it. So when I set up to it and I look down the line, I can see it dead straight, and then I know I'm hitting the ball slightly on the up to create the perfect roll, like so. Ball, just move that there so you can see it. If I have the ball too much back of my stance, what can happen is the putter comes in slightly more open. And if I have it too far forward, putter can actually come too much to the left. So I start missing puts left and right, and it affects my overall alignment with my body. So that's something we haven't talked about with the body alignment. So when I set up to that, I'm always trying to keep myself square, feet, shoulders parallel to my target. Where if I'm slightly open, I can pull it or cut it, because the club face is hitting the ball at different angles, and this is mainly with my upper body. Slightly closed, I can push it and pull it as well, because I'm manipulating with my hands. So we're trying to eliminate as much movement in that short period of time that I'm over the ball. So backtrack, square club face. I use a line to help that every time. Then from there, I work on my grip, which is the two hands split. So as I said, cack-handed grip. I have right hand on top, left hand on bottom, and my forefinger on the outside. That stops me from flicking. It acts like a splint that you'd have on the leg to stop the leg, supporting the leg. So it allows very little movement with the hands. It's mostly all upper body. The other one is the more conventional grip. Again, split. Left hand on top, forefinger, which is this finger, on top of that hand there. Two of them working together. I have seen people use a more traditional grip, which allows a lot more hand movement, but that depends on the type of putter I have. But for me, that's your more traditional grip you'd see on tour. But the only thing I don't like about that, it creates a wrong angle with your shoulders unless you change your body angle. But if you use the cack-handed grip, which I think is brilliant to keep you square, both here and level, so you actually come in at the ball at the right angle, attack for the perfect roll, then I think it's the right one to go to all the time, because you're not manipulating your setup all the time, and less for you to remember. Thing that I work on with a triangle for keeping club face square, I use this when I'm practicing straight puts in the beginning. So I make sure I hit on the line. I'm using a little bit of a piece of thread that is in line with the ball, so I know I'm now perfectly square for that position. And then from there, I would remove that or have it up off the air and then hit puts with square club face, perfect posture. As I said, slide my hands down to give me a perfect angle with my upper body. Step in. Actually, I'll do it this side, sorry. You can see it better. Step in. And then just make my stroke and push. That's it. Bit of a slope on the carpet there. Alright. So I'm happy enough with that. Now, little drills that you can do to help you work on your direction. The starting line is the most important thing. So after you've got the perfect club face square, you can use 2 tees in the ground, or I use 2 balls. And then from there, I try and hit it through that little gate That's my starting line. That's good. Perfect. Okay. Now, if I have the club face slightly open, or I don't move correctly with my body, it will hit the one on the right. And the opposite, if I do it from this angle, I come around, I pull it. Alright, so see that. So it's actually quite a good drill to work on your starting point. But the other thing I was talking about was ball position. So as I said, I have it left of centre. So I know when I come back to it, I'm coming back square. Or if I go too far forward, my putter head is already going to the left. So you'll see that from this angle if I go forward to use. So as I go, if I have it too far forward near my front foot, my putter head is travelling too much that direction, which pulls it towards this ball here. And if I have too far back in my stance, the club head is coming in from here and it's aiming more out there, which hits to this line here. So that causes me to push it. So I'll show you that out there. And then I'll just move another one here. I'll go here, move too far forward. It goes left. And then I'm going to put it where I think it's perfect for me and start straight. So there are your basic fundamentals on putting, which is working very hard on getting the club face square, which is dead straight. Then getting one of two grips that you're comfortable with. There is loads of other variations, but the two I showed you, the cack-handed grip, which is right hand on top for a right-handed golfer, left hand on the bottom, and forefinger on the outside. And remember, everything goes through the middle of the hands now for putting, not through the fingers like the normal grip. What that does, keeps the club face square, but keeps the hands a bit quieter and more stable. Then from there, I do get the right width of stance to suit how I'm going to hit up on it, because that changes my height of my body. So if I go wider, I get lower. If I stand more upright, I'm taller. And that really is related to the angle I come into the ball, the roll I put on the ball. Because we don't want the ball hopping, we want it rolling. So I know for a fact from practicing a lot and getting the club made perfectly for me, shoulder width's perfect. And then ball position I know is left to centre. And from there I can build my posture around that. And I said the perfect way of finding that is literally slide your hands down just above your knees, to the point where it's just barely tight, but not much. That rounds up the shoulders to create this pendulum action where the arms are just swinging. And you can use a weighted ball just to get a sense of feel for that. I'll actually grab that for you. So I've got a medicine ball. So here's the perfect posture. So I'll just swing my arms, because the weight of the balls give me that feeling for that tempo. I'll do it from this angle. That's it. You can see that there, where if I'm too straight in my back like this, creates a lot more movement that way. So we don't want movement of the legs, we don't want rotation here, we don't want a lot of rotation here. It's going to be a slight up and down motion, which means a little bit right to left. So then when I pick up my putter, the perfect posture, I can then just pull the trigger and hit it dead straight, like so. Okay, and then you just got to work on rhythm and loads of other things like that. But in the next session I'm going to show you how to get fitted for a putter, because it's before, like the basics are really important when I show them there, but to make you even more consistent, you need to get a putter that's the right length for you, and how to find that length and give you the right eye line, and how to read puts as well. So I'm going to do that in the next session. Custom fitting, get the right eye line, which is really important for you reading puts, and then I'll give you a drill to work on rhythm as well. Okay, so I'll speak to you in the next session.